Hi, camera. I'm sorry?
You said it was bonkers coming through?
Yeah, it was really, so I moved from this part of town to Encinitas about a year ago. And so we've always worked at home. Well, ever since COVID, we've worked at home, right? So still work at home. And so I figure, well, it's not a problem to move up there. I don't have to deal with traffic. But, and, you know, it still wasn't that horrible.
You're still against traffic.
Yeah, so I had to, it got really bad over by like La Jolla Village, and I took a little bit of a shortcut through some exits, and then I finally got here. Yeah, but it was pretty bonkers up 163 too, so I got here at 6:59, so, you know, it's all right. That's all right. We got here. Hi, Gene. Oh, Lordy. So if you want, you can grab a cushion and just rest your feet on it to make it easier, since your feet don't like. Okay, well, you can do that too. Improvise. Oh, goodness. Well, welcome, everybody. Let me do our official start here. Welcome to the Dharma Bum Temple. You guys have been here before, right? No, it's your first time here? Mm-hmm. Holy cow, first time here and only 2 people. So for you guys, for you 6 people online, there's only 2 people here tonight, which is really strange. You know, yesterday I did the Buddhism enlightenment story, and it's a story that I love to tell. That's one of my favorite things to do. I really like it. And so there's a lot of people here for that, and then now they're just not here. But plenty of people online. You've got 7 people online and 2 people here. That's 9. I'll take it. It reminds me back of the early days of the Dharma Bum Temple. You know, we were downtown on 2nd Avenue between Market and Island. Do you remember you were there? You were there? Yeah. So, people didn't like going there. Well, no, it was downtown. It was hard to get to. You have parking was a pain in the butt, and you know, like now, well, not now, but like earlier on, like if there was like a Padres game, then you know, parking was even harder, and you know, so people. I'm surprised we got as many people as we did downtown, to be perfectly honest. I mean, I like it. I mean, I got so used to it, I knew where to park, and it was just never an issue for me. So it's okay. Oops. Well, welcome. This is the Loving Kindness Meditation, and we're going. Are you new to meditation?
Fairly new.
Fairly new. Have you meditated before?
Yes.
Okay. So you know about posture and. Okay, that's generally just where I'm going. All right, cool. And so I am learning a lot of things too. A lot of things. I'm starting to, you know, I was raised. I was, you know, raised. Come on in. I was raised in the Theravada tradition of Buddhism, and in the Theravada tradition of Buddhism, it's the oldest school. Now, and I have to say that with a little bit of caution, because oldest doesn't mean best, it just means oldest. And so it's the oldest school, and the text that, the teachings that we usually go by, or that we learn from, the written text, is called the Pali Canon. Pali is just the name of a language, and it's a liturgical language, and you know, and it's kind of close to what the historical Buddha spoke. We don't really know what the historical Buddha spoke, because in you know, Indians were not good record keepers. Many things were in oral. Could you just put your mask on, please? Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. So everything was an oral tradition. during the Buddha's time. That's how you memorize sutras and chanting and everything. And nothing, even after the Buddha died, nothing was written down for about 500 years. And so nothing was written down, everything was memorized. And so if you read the Pali Canon, there's a very repetitive nature to it if you read it. It's been translated into English. And and it's repetitive because that's how they learned it, by repeating certain sections and phrases and things like that. But one of the things that I'm learning is that the Pali language really wasn't the Pali language until about 300 CE. And so I'm kind of curious because I learn a lot from like these historians on like TikTok and other social media. So I follow a lot of like ancient historians and linguists, and it's really fascinating stuff. So I'm trying to educate myself more on that kind of part of that part of history. But it's hard, but it's fun. So I'm trying to kind of decipher, well, what language did he speak? I hear Buddhists like to say this is pretty close to what the Buddha spoke, but it's like 800 years of difference from when he died until 300 CE. So I'm trying to figure everything out. So it's very exciting. Anyway, welcome. We now have 5 people here. That's nice. This is your first time here, and I can only imagine what you thought like before I walked in. He was the only person here. Like, is this really a class? But it is. It is. And sometimes people will just like to get here. That's okay. But hello, everyone online. We're going to do this loving kindness meditation that I'm going to guide. And then we're going to have like question and answer time. I have another story that hopefully people will laugh at. That was disappointing last week. All right. Let's go. We all ready? Everyone here? Yeah, we all ready? Let's do this, guys. Get into your meditation positions. So just allow your eyes to close, making sure you have that nice seated position that's nice and comfortable, yet sustainable for you. A position where you're not likely to move around too much. Although, of course, if at any time during this meditation you get really uncomfortable, it's okay, of course, to move, to even stand up and just kind of get resituated. That's never a problem. And when we sit like a Buddha. And you can even imagine yourselves as a Buddha just kind of sitting underneath your own tree of enlightenment. Because every historical Buddha has their own tree of enlightenment. The Buddha Shakyamuni, the historical Buddha that we talk about, had his kind of banyan tree. And you can choose whatever tree you want. So what we want to do first is just get connected to the breath. So let's just take a deep breath all the way in and all the way out. At first, not forcing the breath, letting the breath be quite easy and quite natural. And focusing your breathing at the base of the nostrils, feeling the air go in and out as you breathe. And breathing out, following the breath all the way out, all the way in, all the way out. This focusing on the breath is really important for any meditation, even a loving kindness meditation. And you always want to have at least 25% of your attention on the breath. The breath is our anchor. The breath is our home. That place we can always come back to when we get distracted. So just following the breath all the way in and out. For the next couple of moments, just rest as gently as you can on the sensations of the breath. Now to begin our practice of loving kindness, unconditional friendliness, and goodwill. And remember, this loving kindness or metta meditation that we talk about is just a wish to be happy and a wish for people to do the things that cause happiness. So they're positive thoughts, words, and actions. Let's just call the mind a benefactor. And a benefactor is just anyone who has shown us great love or great kindness, a relative or a best friend, favorite teacher, or just anyone who you've really benefited from their kindness. And picture this person in your mind and just radiate loving kindness to them, wishing them happiness, wishing them to do the things that cause happiness. And just radiate loving kindness to them. And however you understand that word is perfectly fine. I like to imagine a beam of loving kindness going from my heart to theirs. And it's warm, and it makes my heart warm, and it makes me smile. as I do this practice for my benefactor or benefactors. It could be more than one. And we'll do that for the next few minutes, wishing loving kindness for a benefactor or a loved one. Now shifting our focus just a little bit from imagining for doing this practice for our benefactor to now we're just going to imagine that our benefactor is doing this practice for us. So you see, we already have the experience of our benefactor's love and kindness. It's already there. That's why they're a benefactor. So just picture this person again in your mind's eye, and now they're doing this practice for you, wishing you loving kindness, wishing you do the things that cause happiness. And if you want, since your only job is to receive their loving kindness, if you want to place your hand over your heart, you can. Listening for any tension or tightness, any part of you that says, I can't receive this loving kindness fully. And if there is that tightness or tension there, can you then breathe into that? Maybe softening it or loosening it a little bit, just giving it a little space. You don't have to do anything more than that. So for the next few moments, we'll imagine our benefactor doing this practice for us. And now shifting our focus again to, can we now do this practice for ourselves? Can we either just imagine our own heart getting bigger, wishing ourselves loving kindness, wishing that we do the things that cause happiness, directing that being back on itself? Or can we just repeat phrases of loving kindness, phrases like, may I be happy, may I be safe from inner and outer danger, may I be well in body and mind, may I be at peace and live at ease in this world. You can choose one or more of those phrases or a phrase of your own concoction, so long as it has a loving and a kind intention. This is the most important part of the practice, being able to have loving kindness for yourself. So let's be as mindful as we can while we do this part of the practice. And then finally, we can explore this limitless quality of the heart by doing this practice for all beings in all directions, whatever living beings there may be. The great and the mighty, medium, short, or small, the seen and the unseen, those near and far away, those born and to be born, may all beings be at ease, upwards to the skies and downwards to the depths, outwards and unbounded. May all beings be at ease. Just go as far out as you can. Just using the strategy that you have this limitless quality of the heart. So we'll do this to end this meditation. So just open your eyes when you're ready. taking the next couple of moments out in silence as you stretch your arms and you stretch your legs. Keeping that mindfulness of loving kindness about you. It's always important after you finish any meditation, whether you're doing it here or whether you're doing it at home, that after you finish, that you just still sit quietly as you stretch, and you can do whatever, but just sit quietly while you do that. Keeping that mindfulness about you, understanding that one of the reasons why you practice, or whether we call that one of the reasons we call this a practice, is so that we're practicing for the rest of our day, or until the next time we practice, the next time we sit. So that we can go throughout our day and hopefully learn by loving and kind thoughts that we learned while sitting. We'll sit just for another minute, and then we'll begin. If you have any questions or comments here or online, just get them ready, and then I'll ask you about them in a second here. Okay. So it's always interesting, when, and for the people who don't know, I was really late. I got here at 6:59. And this gentleman was like the only one here, this person who's a new person to the Dharma Bum Temple, the only person here.
Thank you for your patience.
And, it's a test of my patience. It's a test of my anxiety because, I don't like to be late for anything. Especially in this class, this is a responsibility that I have. And, I left about 6:15 and maybe a little later than that now that I think about it. And I didn't realize that, there would be as much traffic as there was. I should have known. I should have left a lot earlier, but I didn't. I got lazy. And so that caused a lot of anxiety as I'm coming here, and I see all these red lights in front of me, and it's dark. It's like the first time it's really been dark as I was driving down here, since it's getting darker earlier, and so just noticing all of the emotions in me, like I'm gonna be late, and what does that mean, and all those different kinds of things. And then when I get here on time and I start, those feelings are still with you, and just kind of noticing that as you do loving kindness meditation, and just kind of letting those emotions kind of be with you, especially when you're doing loving kindness for yourself. It's like, it's okay. Just know better next time. Just leave a little bit earlier. That's all right. It's not a problem. You got here on time. So, always a good exercise for me. Patience is not always a Plus, I possess a lot more patience than I used to, but I can still use some work. So for anybody online, anybody here, this is our loving kindness meditation, and regardless of what's going on during it, or what's happening, I'm always interested to know what your experience of meditation is. Now, whether you've been doing this for a while or this is your first time, is this your first? You've been here before, right? Yeah, that's so. Before we get to any questions or comments on the meditation, how did you hear about us? If I could ask you.
I've just been looking around the internet at different Hindu and Buddhist temples.
Oh, so just like a Google search, really? Okay.
You came to the right.
Right, absolutely. All right, so yeah, so we'll go ahead and take any comments or questions. Yes.
This is the first time, and I've been here for a while. I really had a hard time. Like you're talking about your worry and your impatience that you brought along with you.
Mm-hmm.
All the stuff that I had to face today, I just could not. It's kind of like flies, zooming around your head, swatting into. I had a really hard time keeping those out of my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And it seemed almost like if I thought about trying to get rid of them, that just reinforced them instead of letting them go away. It really kind of bugged me because I was so looking forward to just like, relief.
Yeah.
And that kind of didn't happen. It's the first time it's been a real struggle for me. And perhaps it's the nature of the adversity, how I let it affect me. I've heard other people say, or I've been with my friend Melissa here, and she's like, "Did it work for you tonight? I couldn't get them out of my head." And I think that's the hardest thing to attain in the practice is that emptiness, kind of not letting in your baggage.
Yeah. That's a great question. There are a couple of ways that you can deal with this. And, letting go is a practice. And, I think at first we try to let go. We let go by saying, I'm not going to think about this. And when these, these bothersome thoughts just still keep on coming in, they test our patience.
Right.
And, we let go by trying to hold on to emptiness, but it's empty. There's nothing to hold on to, right? And, so the first part is, I think, the Buddha gives us a lot of tools for this, and these are called kind of antidotes to what we call the hindrances. And the hindrances, there's 5 hindrances, and there's sensual desires. So that's desire for anything that you can see and hear and taste and touch and whatever. Ill will, sloth and torpor, restlessness and doubt, and restlessness and worry, and then doubt. And so these 5 things that are the hindrances that hinder our practice of meditation, that hinder our ability to let go and just to be with the present moment, and to explore the mind, really. The Buddha gives us some antidotes to this. And one of the antidotes is to just understand how these thoughts cause suffering. Just understand that there are these thoughts and they cause suffering. or you can just recognize that there is suffering in me instead of I'm suffering because of all this stuff. No. Suffering is in me. I am not suffering. Suffering is in me. So it's a way to kind of depersonalize and kind of detach from what is happening. Detach from it. Just letting it be. You don't want to like containerize. The more you containerize something, the more it's just going to get crazy. Right, yeah. Another is to understand the impermanent nature of these thoughts, because these thoughts, and they come and they go, and they come and they go, and they come and they go. So that's just another way to look at these things as impermanent, right? And so those are a couple of different ways. There's like 5 different ways, and there is a final, just kind of, if everything else doesn't work, do this. Which is really intense. So you probably don't want to do that. Because you'll probably do it first, because you were doing it first, which is just trying to force it out. Right?
It doesn't work.
Yeah, forcing it out. I mean, if you need to try the other things first, and just understand that, these thoughts that are there, just understand that they're there. Just these thoughts are here, and just let them be without attaching to them, without personalizing them, without making them into a thing, right? And in Buddhism, this is kind of what we call becoming, which is a way that we suffer. The idea is that there is this kind of false sense of self that we have. And when you think about these thoughts and you let them, kind of pollute your mind, you make them into a thing. You make it into something that's solid, right? And you reinforce this false sense of self, this ego that we all have, that we all do, right? And you make that, you reinforce that, and that's kind of called becoming. Making something, making ego stronger.
You're feeding it, basically.
You're feeding it. You're exactly right. And that's actually even a term that they use, is feeding. You feed that. And so we have these antidotes that we try to use, and it takes time to understand how to do this. And this is where the breath can really come in handy.
Focus on it.
Yeah, focus on the breath. Because when we're focusing on the breath, when we're remembering the breath, because that's what mindfulness is, right? Mindfulness is, at its very basic definition, remembering something, has this quality of memory. So we're just remembering the breath. That's what mindfulness is, remembering the breath, or remembering whatever object of meditation you have.
Listen to the oxygen, not your thoughts.
Yeah. Feel that breath coming in, and the breath has this energy to it, right? When the breath comes in, the breath has this energy to it. And you can direct that energy to whatever part of the body that might be a little tight, or, whatever it might be. So always remember that. The idea is to not kind of reinforce these thoughts by just kind of holding on to them and believing them, by letting them get the best of us. But we all do it. We all do it.
It's weird. My tree, rather than the bristle cone, like I told you about before, it was like the Berlin Wall with all this barbed wire and shit. It's like caught, like you're stuck against it. It's horrible. I didn't like it.
Oh, God.
Thank you.
And Jean says, restlessness and worry is the most challenging hindrance for me. Me too. Me too. In my life, I've struggled with depression, anxiety, I still take medication for it, and it's been a struggle for the last probably 25 years. Actually longer than that, but I've been taking medication for about that long. And so yeah, it's really hard. Like, I am a really good catastrophizer. Like,
calls that
awfulizing, catastrophizing, thinking like the absolute positive worst thing is going to happen. And when you have that kind of thinking, that's very addictive. It's very addictive. And so it takes a lot of mindfulness to just to kind of break free of that. And I've made a lot of progress on that. It takes a lot of things. But to take every little mistake that I've ever made in my life and just make the worst possible make up the worst possible outcome of it, without letting myself just make a mistake. Oh, well, I messed up there, or I messed up there. I said the wrong thing, and I did the wrong thing. I know better. So I've gotten a lot better at that. But it's still very addictive. And Tamara says, I was just squirrely as hell tonight. So
it's going around.
It's going around, I understand that. And it's really interesting too, that this class, sunset was like at 6 p.m. today. And this class starts at 7. And so it's like the first time I remember that it just got really dark really early. I mean, I'm sure it was that way last week too, but there's something different about tonight. Something just a little different about tonight. And maybe that's just something that's hope going around, or something that's happening. I love that word squirrely. And I love that. If I could just say really quickly, last week Tamara came here in person. And after seeing her and speaking with her or conversing with her here and on Twitter, and finally putting a face to a name, like, oh, that's so nice. So it's wonderful to see you. Yes, last week, Tamara. Thank you. It's really awesome. I love that. Although if it's not safe for you to come, don't come. We'll deal with that later. That's okay. It's okay. You don't have to come if it's not safe for you. But yeah, that was and that's just a part of the practice. And that's why I like this practice. That's why I love Buddhism so much. That we're not expected to be perfect. We're expected to try. We're expected to, we're asked to develop skills that will make us happier. Where we try to help people understand that you have everything that you need, all the tools at your disposal to free your mind from suffering, to free your heart from suffering. And we'll teach you these and to try these things out yourself. And if you screw up, or if you do something wrong, that's okay. Try it again. You messed up? Fine. Try it again, and then try it again. There's a lot of trial and error, because you're going to try things that aren't going to work, especially with the breath. And you're going to try, oh, this kind of breath didn't really make me more relaxed. I need to try something else. I need to try taking a deeper inhale, or a longer exhale, or something like that. And you're allowed, and that kind of allowance of not having to be perfect all the time allowed me to breathe in this practice. Oh, I'm not expected to be perfect. I can just try, and that's fine. And that's what I like. That's what I like Anything else? Any other questions, comments, anything?
I suppose I should go to the bookstore, but the other day I was trying to find like a accessible, simple kind of explanation of stuff without getting into the super heavy. And I stumbled across the Dalai Lama book and this and that. The more I did on Google, they give you a little preview, and I was like, "Ooh, this is making my head hurt. So I'm having to think too hard." Do you have like dummies for Buddhism?
They actually have a Buddhism for Dummies. I think they have an everything for dummies.
I have a Dharma recovery book that's been somewhat helpful.
They have,
Just a guide.
in Buddhism, we have a lot of structured teachings and things like that. So there are lots of introductions to Buddhism, but there's I have a book in the back of my trunk that I keep for just these occasions. And I usually buy multiple copies, and I just have them. And so I'll give you one. It's not a guide, like a specific guide, but it's all about Buddhism and suffering less. And it's a book that I recommend. It's in the bookstore. I just have to have an extra one. I think it's in the bookstore. I can't remember. It's just called When Things Fall Apart. Pema Chodron. When Things Fall Apart. It is a classic.
Yeah, that describes it.
Yeah, absolutely describes it. And so it's Pema Chodron is American Buddhist nun, so she gets us. She gets us. She was I love her story because she was she got married. She had a couple of kids. She left her husband for this other guy, and then a while later, he left her for some other woman, right? Just drama. And then that's when she just kind of said to herself, I need to think about all this. I need to deal with what the hell is going on. So she just went off and became a Buddhist nun. And so that caused a big deal with like her kids, and so she really couldn't raise her kids as well as she probably could have, because she just wanted to find an answer to her suffering. And so she's reconciled with them to some degree, I think she pretty much. And she's like 85 now or 83 now, something like that. And, she's obviously learned a lot. And she's a wonderful speaker. You can see her talks on YouTube and whatever, podcasts. She has a slew of books and audiobooks and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, follow me after class. Yeah, absolutely. I have one other, so if somebody else wants the other copy, you can have it. You guys, thank you so much for coming. Let's join our palms together at our hearts, please. May the benefits of this meditation, this discussion, be received by all beings in all directions. May all beings be free from suffering. May all beings be at peace. May all beings be joyful and at ease. May all beings be happy. May all beings be loved and seen for the beautiful, radiant beings that they are, that you are. Thank you for coming. Thank you, guys. We'll see you next time. Have a wonderful, thank you. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Happy hump day. See you guys later. Bye, Jean. Bye, Tamara. Bye, everyone else.
Is there anything I can help do?
Oh, just maybe
Close